and love. My name is Unity Lewis. I've lived in the Bay Area about 15 years, and I've been teaching hip hop in school as an elective and as an after-school program for about 13 years. I've been on break for about the last 2 years to kind of go deeper into my music and art, and also do some other things working with the movement. But I have a lot of experience in the field of hip hop education. My class at Arts Far West, it's called Taking Hip Hop Back, was actually the first hip hop program in an Oakland public school that was ran as an elective, which means it's like a mandatory class for kids to take during school as opposed to just an after school program. I was hired through the Center for Art and Public Life while I was working there for my work study while attending the California College of the Arts. So I started doing that, and for me it was important because coming up I wasn't offered anything in regards to my hip-hop education. Hip-hop education was something that I taught myself. I didn't have guidance from the schools to do that. I learned it from the streets, I learned it from my friends, I learned it just from being out in the culture, being a part of the culture. And what I found as I grew is that this is an art form, and it's a way of life, and it's a cultural expression, and it's an extension of all of the cultural art forms and expressions that our ancestors have done ever since the Negro spirituals. You know, from the graffiti art aspect of it, these are roadmaps to our freedom. We as a people get free through our cultural art and our expression. We can create whole worlds and universes of freedom through our cultural art and expression. So since we've been teaching hip hop in schools, it's opened up possibilities for youngsters coming up who love hip hop, who that's their cultural art form and expression, to walk in the door of a college with a portfolio full of hip hop art and say, hey, like, this is my cultural expression, and it's valid. We've been working in the field of hip hop education and actually writing, documenting books, preserving the history and things like that. These books are becoming credible in the academic realm. So people are starting to grow and respect hip hop culture, not as something that these kids are doing that doesn't make any sense or that's a juvenile delinquent practice. But actually, we have people in politics and in Congress now who are making change through hip hop, you know, through hip hop education. Barack Obama listens to hip hop, apparently. You know, so when you have a society like that, it slowly grows and becomes a valid form of cultural expression. Even though it's always been, now it's getting the recognition.
Well, didn't it come from the streets? It never came from corporations?
Nah, it never came from corporations. It originally came from the streets. But now, you know, they've turned hip hop into hip pop. So that's when you have the corporations coming to find out what's cool in the street, and then commodifying it, repackaging it to serve the needs of this capitalistic society. So a big part of our work was to teach kids the original roots of hip hop, which is based on peace, love, and unity and having fun, giving them that foundation so no matter where they go and see hip hop in the mainstream, they can recognize the truth of the matter, the truth of the cultural matter, and what hip hop represents. So as a product of us teaching hip hop in all these schools for the last 15 years, you now have kids who are practicing hip hop in a socially aware way, you know, in a socially conscious way. That was a problem when I was coming up, you know, due to COINTELPRO. You had the explosion of all the gangster rap and the gangster hip hop that kind of took out Public Enemy and KRS-One and their conscious message, which was on the rise. They came in with the gangster rap and totally tried to do away with that, at least on a mainstream standpoint. So we went back into schools and re-educated the youth. So now we have these youth out there with Khafre, you know what I'm saying, doing that work, standing on the corner promoting conscious hip hop for social change and awareness, you know, because that's what it was from the jump. Hip hop was a community-based program to help beautify, unify, and uplift the whole community.
So what's possible when you expand this?
What's possible when you expand it is a unified field of people coming together to use their creative energy to do positive things for society. When we talk about hip hop, the lyrics that we express don't just express one thing. Hip hop is a microcosm of the world. You have Hare Krishnas expressing their views. You got street people expressing their views. You got preachers expressing their views. So many views are expressed through hip hop. But as we grow in consciousness and awareness, we see that we have a responsibility not only to our communities, to our families, to our loved ones, to this environment, to spread awareness of what we can do to all be productive, sustainable, to live here and exist in peace and harmony with our surroundings. So that's what we want to promote.
So music can help raise awareness in ways that advertisements never could.
Exactly. And it can raise the frequency of consciousness of the people on the planet.
Wonderful.
You know?